The world of geometry. So when I start teaching geometry, I teach it as if you have never heard these words before. What I mean by that is you have never heard the word square. You've never heard the word line. Okay, I'm pretending, as you should as well, that you have never ever heard these words. Okay, so we're starting from ground zero when we talk about these things. All right, what'd you say? Okay, so the first thing to notice, so one of the things to notice about geometry is that we're going to use these things called definitions. That's why we have our vocabulary sheet. We're going to use these things called postulates. These are rules that we assume to be true. And we're going to use these things called theorems, which are rules that have already been proved for us. If you ever talk to somebody about geometry in high school, they talk about proofs, and everybody groans and says they're horrible. We're not going to do very much with proofs. We'll do just a little bit. One of the things you need to know, though, this word postulate is a vocabulary word. Okay, so you're going to be tested. It's going to ask you, what is a postulate? A postulate is an assumed truth. So it means, this would be one of your vocabulary words. You're welcome to have your vocabulary sheet out with you if you want to, or you can just mark it in your notes and go back and do it later. So I see some of you getting your vocabulary sheet out now. That's fine. A postulate is a rule that we assume to be true. So it's a rule we assume to be true. Your vocabulary sheet is in alphabetical order. It's a rule that we assume to be true. I think theorem is also a vocabulary word. Yes? Theorem is also a vocabulary word. Theorem is a rule that must be proved. Theorem is a rule that must be proved. A rule that must be proved. And both of these words come from lesson 1.1. So that last box tells you is a place for you to say what lesson it's from. So a theorem is a rule that we prove to be true. And both of these are from lesson 1.1. So a postulate is true just because I said so. You know, if you think about kids ask all these questions and how many times have you said, that's just because I said so, right? Versus explaining to them why something's real or true. Okay?
Or it could be
this is the definition right here.
Yes, that's the definition.
The scientific definition, like postulate, would be something that you would need to prove is true, like the sky is blue because it reflects the bodies of water on the earth. That would be a postulate. A theorem would be something that needs to be proved. It's just a theory.
Yep, and that's true too. But
I'm confused. You said a theorem is proved to be true?
Let's talk about what a point is. So pretend like you've never heard about a point. Okay, so this is a vocabulary word. A point is a location. So on your vocab sheet, a point is a location. You also should put in there that is named with a capital letter. So it's a location named with a capital letter. I think it's also helpful to draw a definition, an example of what we mean by that. So a point is what we think of as a dot, and it's named with a capital letter. So I would say that this is point A. Now, if you are not a details person, then you need to become one, because geometry is all about the little details. Capital letters mean something different than lowercase letters. Different symbols mean different things. So it's really important to make sure that you are doing exactly how it is written. So let's put this example on our notes. Up there I said point A. So just draw a point. We would call that point A. I can draw another point, and I will call that point T. These are just points, and they have capital letters that go with them. A line is an unbounded set of points. An unbounded set of points. So that would be the definition there. A line is an unbounded set of points. What does the word unbounded mean to you? No boundary, right? It goes on and on and on and on and on. So a line goes on and on and on and on and on. That's what a line is. It's unbounded set of points. Yep, to infinity on each side. Okay, it's named with 2 capital letters. So let's draw an example here. If I say that this is point A and this is point B, then I can draw a line all the way through them. Now, we said that a line goes on and on and on, so we use arrows to represent that it goes on and on and on and on forever. Okay, and if I was talking about this, notice that the arrow is not on the dot. It goes past the dot, right? The arrow needs to go past the dot. So this line would be named, we're going to put A and B together and draw a line with arrows over them. That's how if you were writing it in a sentence and you were talking about this picture, you would say line AB. So this symbol with these letters means line AB. That's what the symbol and the letters mean together. Line AB. It also says that we can name a line with a lowercase cursive. So what if you had a line, let's draw another line over here, but this line didn't have any points labeled on it. Okay, so let's go back to our notes. What if this line didn't have any points labeled on it? Well, it's almost a line segment, but it's still a whole line because it's got the arrows. So I can name it with a lowercase cursive letter. So if I wanted to use an L, I could say that this is line L. And I would say line L.
Just a random question. You know
Yeah.
how they're not teaching kids cursive in schools?
I was just getting ready to say something about that. Josh said they're not teaching kids cursive these days, which is unfortunately the truth. So when we have to deal with cursive in geometry, just do your best. If you don't remember what a cursive Q looks like, again, just try your best, okay? Usually you're going to have it in an example already. What? Yeah, it almost looks like it too. Yeah, it's kind of funky. Okay, so we can name a line a couple different ways. Let's look at this line though. What if I have this one over here? If I have P, Q, and R. Let's draw 3 points and a line that goes through all 3 of them. So draw a line with 3 points. So CJ, you can do that on your paper. Draw a line with 3 points. Oh, we already have the PQR one. Yeah, good. And if I wanted to name or label this line, remember how many letters do I need for a line? I just need 2. So how could I name this black line? What could I say the name was called? I could say line PQ. I only need 2 letters.
Oh, well, then you could use line PR.
Okay, so PQ, P and Q are 2 points that are on the line. And then Josh just said PR. That would work as another name for it. It's still the same line because I still have P and I still have R on there. What'd you say? QR. That would be another way to name it. You're just choosing any 2 points that are on that line. So we could also say that this is line QR. So any one of these 3 options will work. to name or label this black line. Any questions about that so far? Yep, you only need 2 of the 3 letters. That's exactly right. And it doesn't matter what order they're in. Good. Okay, so let's go to the next thing. This word intersect. I don't know if this is on your... Intersection. That would work. So where it says intersection. So on your vocab sheet it says intersection. The intersection is the one point that they have in common. So you would put 1 point in common. That's the intersection. Now, if I have 2 lines, what does intersect mean in your own words? Cross. Excellent. I saw some of you make your fingers cross. They're crossing, right? That's what it means to us. They're crossing. And so these 2 lines cross at, what is this right here? What vocab word is this? This is a point. The 2 lines cross at a point. Does that make sense? Quickly. So 2 lines cross at a point. So that's your blank right there, is point. Two lines intersect at a point.
Why are there 2 F's in the
That's a good question. We'll talk about that in just a minute.
Oh, it's for a reason.
Yeah, it's not a typo. Okay, so now we're going to learn a new word. Points are something if they lie on the same line. We use this word collinear.
Nice try.
Yeah, you gave a good guess. Collinear, it's a new word. Collinear, C-O-L-L-I-N-E-A-R. What word do you see in collinear?
Together and on.
Okay, we see line. And what does co mean?
Together.
Together, right? You have co-employees, you work with them, you go to a co-op, you do that together. Co means together on the same line. So if they are on the same line, they are called collinear. That's a vocabulary word, is collinear. Points that lie on the same line. That's your definition there. Points that lie on the same line. I'll say that again. The definition of collinear is points that lie on the same line. Give yourself some room to draw an example. Points that lie on the same line. That's called collinear. So let's draw an example. If I say J, K, and L, and let's draw a line through them. Would you agree that J, K, and L are all on the same line? Okay, so we could say that J, K, and L are collinear. Okay, so we could say J, K, L are collinear. Then we would say, careful, this gets a little tricky. Points are non-collinear. How original. Non-collinear if they do not lie on the same line. So this is another vocab word. Non-collinear. And if you look at the word, non means not, right? Co means same line, not the same line. So non-collinear means that they are not on the same line. So let's draw an example. Let's use the first one that we had. We had line JKL. if I draw a point M out here, if I look at J, K, L, and M all together, if I look at all four of those points all together, are they all on the same line? No. So this means that J, K, L, and M are non-collinear. Even though three of the points are on the same line, we're looking to see if all four together are on the same line. Okay? Now, Josh asked about this IFF. Is that a typo? The answer is no. IFF, this can be some bonus points. IFF means if and only if, which means it's the same forwards and backwards. That's not a vocab word. You don't have to know that. But the IFF is going to continue to appear the entire term. It means it's the same forwards and the backwards. It's the same forwards as it is backwards. So, oh, what's that called? An anagram? I don't know. I'm not an English teacher. I'm just kidding. I am doing vocab, so that makes me part English teacher. Okay, so let's look at this really quickly. I want you to look at it so that you can understand what this means. If we look at this right here, this non-collinear thing, okay, I want you to look up here as I'm talking. If we read it starting at the left, it says points are non-collinear if they are not on the same line. That makes sense. Now, let's start back here. Points that are not on the same line are non-collinear. Does that make sense? Points that are not on the same line are non-collinear. That means no matter which way you say it, this way or this way, it means the same thing. That's why we use IFF. Okay? And we will continue to talk about IFF as we go further. Does anybody have any questions about collinear and non-collinear? All right, let's go forward.
I remember hearing about it in my last
Do you?
chemistry class.
Yeah.
It was never just like put into one word like that.
Quentin, is your friend asleep? Is your friend asleep? Take your hood off, please, and sit up. Okay, the next word that we're going to use is a plane. Now, when you think of plane, I think sometimes you think of like an airplane, but this is not the plane that we're talking about. So if you look at plane on your vocab sheet, it's a location and a direction. Yep, on your vocab sheet. A plane. It's not on there? Okay, just put it at the bottom of the P page. Put it at the bottom of one of the P pages. That's what I need to add. Okay, so it is a boundless, which is the same meaning as unbounded. So it is a boundless set containing points and lines. And again, boundless means it's going to go on and on and on and on, right? Containing points and lines. And then I'd like you to save room for a diagram. Okay, so this is what a plane looks like. We draw it as like a crooked or a sideways rectangle. I'm not asking you to be artists. I'm asking you just to draw what you can, do your best. A sideways rectangle. This is the symbol we use for a plane. Now, it says that it has to be 3 non-collinear points inside the plane. So I need 3 points inside the plane that are what? Not what? Come on. Not collinear, right? Which means they can't make a line. So if I have A here and I have B here, that means C can't be in the middle of them, right? Because then I could draw a straight line between them. So let's maybe put C over here. Can you draw one straight line between those three? No, you can't. You cannot draw one straight line between, which is what you want. You don't want to be able to draw a straight line, okay?
If you bend it the right way.
If you've been it the right way. It is weird, right? If I tried to draw a line, it would look like this, right? But that's not a straight line. Now, please notice something. I want you to look up here on the board. Notice that the points are not on the edge. Do you see that? The points are not on the edge of the box. They should not be on the edge. They should be inside the edge, inside the box somewhere. Okay, so we would name this. We're going to use our little symbol for plane. A, B, C. That's how you would name this. Now, do you think it has to go in order A, B, C? Patrick, what might be another way you could name it? BF?
Or, I'm sorry.
CAB.
CAB.
CAB would work. What's another way to do this?
BAC.
BAC. Any combination of the three letters means the same thing. Okay? Now, another way to name a plane is with one capital cursive letter. So let's draw another plane over here. Just do your best to draw a plane. What capital letter do you want to use?
That's 2 letters.
Let's use B. That's a good capital letter. It's easy. We just put a tail on it. So here's the thing. If there are no points inside of it, you can name it with a capital cursive letter. So one capital cursive letter, it's in the corner. So do your best to make a capital B. Just make it curly. Something like this. Okay, just make it look curly and fancy. So I could say that this was also named plane B. That's another way to name a plane. You can either use 3 points or you can use one capital cursive letter. Notice there are no points around B, right? B is not a point. Do you agree with that? B is not a point there. Okay. Why do you have a triangle? I need you to have a box for me. Okay. 2 planes intersect at a what? Okay, I want you to think about this. I'm going to draw this. I don't want you to draw this yet. I want you just to look at my drawing up here. 2 planes. If you have 2 planes that want to crash into each other, not airplanes, but pieces of paper. Think of 2 pieces of paper. This one is flat. Okay, are you watching? And if I put this piece of paper down into it, this one goes behind. So if you think about holding a piece of paper flat and another piece of paper coming down on top of it, you have a line here where it cuts right through the middle of it. Do you guys see that? Okay?